So, we'll get everything going. Going to get into a few things. I want to thank the sponsors, Kenzies Optics, Taurus USA, and, of course, Crossbreed Holsters and Riton Optics. Love those guys. Thank you guys for your support, for your help. Appreciate everything that you guys do. So, going to get into a few topics, a few things that got me excited this weekend. We'll get into Monday, the contest, everything coming soon. But we're going to get into 1,000 screaming fans and social media, and we'll talk a little bit about social media this week. But I wanted to touch on a quick topic with you guys about getting into ruts too. So starting with 1,000 screaming fans. So I took the time to go back and read a few books this weekend and kind of give you guys a little insight into marketing and into brand development, because I'll be coming out with an ebook that's going to touch on some of this. So one of the goals everybody has in social media and in brand development is developing what they call 1,000 screaming fans and developing a fan base and developing a brand base. So a lot of people talk and debate all day long about what is the best tack to take and what's the best approach. I've always been an advocate of just kind of taking it day by day and giving back to the people and giving back to what they're looking for and what they want. So whether that's insight, whether that's marketing, whether that's, you should stay in your area of expertise. So, if you follow the premise of, 1,000 screaming fans, and I'm sure a lot of you people watch, whether it's, any of the YouTubers out there, or any of the bloggers, or anybody out there, they get into this like whole 1,000 screaming fans premise. And what does that mean? We first heard that when I had Bruce Cardenas on the show a while back, and Bruce is a Quest guy, and we talked a lot about what it means to build a following and build a base. So I try to tell all you guys, if you want to build a base and you want to build a strong following, make sure that you're delivering what they're looking for, what they want. So in that line of thinking, make sure that you're following, them, 1, 2, listening, and 3, paying attention to the shifts in the marketplace. So, a lot of my past few years I've spent, developing different brands and working with different brands. I try to develop an understanding for what that whole 1,000 screaming fans means. So these are some of the topics, some of the things I get confronted with all the time. What does that actually mean? Well, if you want to build a successful brand in anything, and you want to build a successful brand in life, you have to have 1,000 screaming fans. So the reason this is coming up is I got into a little bit of a rut, and we'll talk about ruts. People fall into ruts all the time. I got into a rut kind of early last week, kind of trying to figure out a few things, what direction I wanted to go in, and I went back to the workbook. I went back to the drawing board, and the drawing board was go listen to some ebooks, listen to some stuff, and just kind of get your brain right, get your mind right, get your head around some of the different things that, kind of drive you and motivate you. So I listened to some Tim Ferriss stuff. I listened to a few guys I like to listen to, and it got my brain going back in that right direction. And, I just kind of reaffirmed some of the belief systems that I had, and I started just paying attention again. And I think if you pay attention to what you're following, your fan base, your follower base, whatever it is you want to call it, your brand base is telling you, you'll learn. You'll learn. They'll guide you. They'll set you free. What's up, Frenny? What's up, everybody? I'm going to get into the Canic giveaway too, so pay attention. If you want to win the Canic pistol, you have to head over to YouTube. You have to share YouTubes. You have to engage. I'm going to announce the winner either at the end of this or tomorrow. I'm leaning towards tomorrow to give you guys one more night to participate in the Canic giveaway. So I'm going to type that up. If you want to participate in the Canic giveaway, you have to follow the rules. In the Canic. I'm trying different things for voice. If you want to win the Canic, you have to head over to YouTube. YouTube, and comment and share, as well as Podbean and iTunes. And comment done on my last post. If I don't pick the winner tonight, I'm definitely picking it tomorrow. So, finishing up that line of thinking, when you get into these ruts, guys, and you get into a little bit of a rut, trying to dig out, trying to figure out your motivations, go back to the drawing board. It's the same thing. And Frenny, you know this. Yeah, we'll talk about it. You know this, Frenny. When you get in a rut, even in training, go back to the drawing board. Go back to basics. Go back to what got you there in the first place. So I was in a little bit of a rut Monday, Tuesday. I went back. I listened to a couple of ebooks, Reader's Digest versions. If I read the book, usually I'll go back and I'll read like an abridged version or a short version. So go back. And you do the same thing in training. If you get into a little bit of a rut, go back to your training, go back to basics. Go shoot a pistol for fun. Go enjoy it. Go do some training. Frenny went out and did, a little jiu-jitsu tournament and a little grappling tournament, and I'm sure he had a ton of fun. But he went back to the drawing board a little bit. Go back to the beginning. Go back to what got you there. Don't focus on, trying to be a world beater every day, because I guarantee you it'll crush you. It'll crush your hopes and dreams. I was doing hour-long podcasts. I was doing these marathon podcasts in the beginning, and they were good. I mean, they were okay. And then I shortened them up a little bit because I felt a little more energetic, a little more lively. So one of the things that struck me was the premise of the 1,000 Screaming Fans. So I went back to the drawing board. I talked to Bruce, talked to a few friends of mine, and I kind of got reinvigorated to come back to you guys and figure out what it is you guys want. And I told you, it's not all about the free stuff and the giveaways and those things. And that's all good and that's all fun. And we have fun with that. But it's just about kind of seeing the world through a different lens, okay, Frenny, what gets you going? Hey, Ruben, what gets you going? Whoever it is, whoever's in your circle. So 3 takeaways to the 1,000 Screaming Fans I'll give you guys to kind of chew on. And maybe this gets your week going next week. Maybe it gets your Monday, churning, or Tuesday, or whatever it is. But go back to basics, whatever that is. If you're training and you feel like, geez, my workouts haven't been the same, go back to basics. Go back to what got you there in the first place. Go and do a different workout. Try something totally different. If it's Monday and it's chest day, do something totally different. Speed it up. Slow it down. Do something different. If it's training, on the range or in jiu-jitsu, or Frenny just said he just ran a marathon, try something totally different. If you're used to a treadmill, run outside. The weather's getting good. Shake it up. Be different. Don't be the same. Part of the reason why I wanted to make such an effort with the podcast and YouTube and everything else over the last couple months and even, before I started doing it myself, I was doing it for brands. I just wanted to do something different. I just felt like it was time to do something different. I think doing the same thing over and over and over again is the definition of insanity. And I didn't want to do that, and I wanted to take an approach of looking at it as something else. Semi-Auto Kid says, I've definitely noticed the difference in how long the podcasts are. By the way, whether it's an hour or 30 minutes, I really enjoy them. I appreciate that. It means a lot when you guys say that. And I don't care whether there's 3 of you or 30 of you. I appreciate that. I think we're coming up on 3,000 downloads on Podbean, and we've been ranked something like as high as I think we've cracked 100 on New and Noteworthy a couple times. So that's a testament to you guys. Keep sharing, keep plugging, keep posting, keep putting the stuff out there. But I think it's, again, with that premise of 1,000 Screaming Fans, about giving you guys what you want. And I felt like speeding it up, giving you guys a lot of information in a short amount of time was a good thing. And then if there's times that I have more to talk about, we'll talk about more. But, lately I've been trying to just get re-energized, revitalized, and kind of deliver you guys something that I think is really informational. I promise to be as upfront and raw as I can and give, if you guys ask the right questions, I'll give you the best answers. So I do this as an open forum. I throw the Instagram on so you guys can ask real questions about whether it's the industry, whether it's the firearms industry, whether it's anything about training, anything, any insight I can give you, I'm here to give it to you. So that was one of the biggest takeaways. This exists for you. It exists to give you something back. So the second kind of takeaway, beyond going back to basics and listening to you guys, was really, to develop a mission or develop a conversation that was open and honest. So if you ask the question, I'm going to answer it. I have no issue with that. So I want to be upfront. That's part of the reason why I do it in this format, is to give you guys a little bit of a forum to chime in and ask the questions. The food every time. I want it to be accessible. I want it to be repeatable. So, I try to just, not do this like once willy-nilly, once over here, once over there. Give you guys something that had a standard format that was deliverable time and time again. So, I kind of went back to the drawing board. I wrote out a list. I actually wrote a list out right on a cutting board, believe it or not. True story. And thanks, Gunjitsu. Yeah, head over to Podbean. I wrote out a list. I actually wrote on a cutting board. I ran out of some of the paper, but I wanted to make something that I could follow that was set in stone, because I felt like, getting in that rut, and this is just more a personal story, I had to get 10 things accomplished. I'm a big believer in making lists, whether that's 5 things or 10 things. I know, Chuck, that was awesome. If you buy a shirt, if you head over to the website, you buy a shirt or you donate to the Patreon, which I'll get to that, that definitely puts you in the running for the pistol as well. I gave you guys my thoughts on that, but finishing up with making lists. Making lists are very powerful, okay? And if you make lists and you approach your day, and build it around gratitude and build it around what you're thankful for, and you start your day that way, I think you're going to be much better off, and you're going to feel a sense of accomplishment at the end of each day. In the last 30 days, 45 days with you guys, we've managed to get, I don't know, Chuck, you were on there. What do we got? 2 shirts or a shirt, couple hats on the website. We got a whole website up and running. I'm going to have an ebook, and I think we've recorded about 35 episodes of the podcast. So I wanted to get you guys out a ton of content, a ton of consumables, and a ton of information that I could give you. And I'll run this as long as you guys want, as long as you guys put it out there. And like I said, whether it's 5, 10, or 25 of you guys, yeah, Condition 1 case is everything. And we're going to strike up some more giveaways as time goes on and as more companies get involved. There's plenty of companies that want to be involved. I just have to iron out the shipping costs, because I can't, the thing of it is, guys, I can't keep eating, $150 in shipping costs a month. It gets crazy. So I wanted to put as much out there that was consumable to you guys and you guys could absorb and could take in. Big ups to Cassie, by the way. Cassie won the pistol from Dark Alliance, and that thing was fucking badass. It looks sick. So, congratulations to Cassie. You deserve it, and it looks fantastic. That's going to be a beautiful piece. So hopefully you guys understand, what I'm talking about with ruts. And I know everybody's been in them at one time. Those of you that have my number, call. Those of you that don't, send me a DM. Everybody knows I do my best to answer. I will do my best to kind of help you dig out of the rut. And whatever system you have for digging out of ruts, whether it's going to a book, whether it's going to a podcast, whether it's coming on here and asking a few questions, whether it's DMing me or sending me a quick text, Frenny knows I'm a phone call away. You want to vent? Hey, I'm right here. But when you get into a rut, go back to basics, guys. Go back to a book, go back to a training method, go back to something you haven't done, and and claw and scratch your way out. And, spend a little time, and yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day. Spend some time working on the fundamentals, okay? Whether that's just, again, doing something a little different. Instead of cardio running on a treadmill, jump a rope. Okay, do something different. Instead of your standard, instead of your standard workout, do something different. And instead of, staying miserable and being an Eeyore and waking up, this sucks, my day sucks, or this fucking blows, spend some time. Frenny feels like he really has something to say. Let's see what Frenny has to say. Let's see if Frenny wants to chime in. Let's see if I can connect. I don't have much power, Frenny. So, let's see. Let's get Frenny's input. There he is.
This actually works for once.
Beautiful.
Is it working?
It's working.
Hold on. It still says connecting on my end.
We can see you fine, so give your insight.
Oh, man. It's all fucked up on my end, though. All right.
So you were in a rut recently. I noticed you were doing the jiu-jitsu. You were doing this. You were doing some stuff. Now you're running more. So talk about that.
So I wanted to change it up a little bit. I realized that, obviously I look up to Ruben. A guy that, we met.
Ruben Alvarez, yep.
Yep. And I realized that there was a gap in my training that I needed to address. And doing more jiu-jitsu through this guy, Matt, who's down in the Cape Cod, who's a brown belt through Joe Lozon. And he really takes care of law enforcement. So, again, anybody who's based on the Cape or South Shore area, DM me. I'll give you all the information. He takes care of the guys in law enforcement. He definitely recognizes that it's a big deal to have that training, which is awesome. It's, again, it's amazing the fact that, somebody's willing to do that. Huge props to Matt that willing to do that. I cannot stress that enough. Matt's a great guy. He's somebody I look up to a lot, and the fact that he's willing to do that for the law enforcement community is massive. Adding that up through a week, through a month, through a year, that adds up a lot.
Right.
So you're willing to, put that hour of training in, that's going to help yourself out so much in the long run.
Well, like we've said too, Frenny, I think the biggest takeaway is anytime, whether it's you feel there's a gap or you're missing something or you want to put something in, just start somewhere and just do it. There's plenty of resources out there. It's 2019. There's plenty of stuff out there. You can Google search. There's plenty of us out there in these forums. Find a resource, and everybody hits a rut in different ways, whether it's getting up at 4 a.m. sucks, whether it's doing this. I mean, I look at people for different inspiration all the time. You brought up Ruben. I'll bring up Mikey Coonahan, no donuts here. I mean, Mike is up at 5 a.m. every fucking morning, and he's just doing it, and you look at people like Tony that put in the workouts, just, whatever it is, whether it's a mental rut, whether it's a physical rut, on that premise of building a brand, building your identity, building your toolbox, whatever it is, whatever term you want to use. When you hit these walls, whether they're mental or physical, change some stuff up. Do something different. Don't just stay there and just get into that Eeyore complex. Do something different. Get on a plane. Go to a training. Take 2 days. Get in the car. I always use that term, get in the car. Just get in the car. Find something. If you have to drive 2 hours to find it, drive 2 hours. Get out of that rut. And sometimes, I know for me, even when I lived in New England, I love getting in the car. For me, I kind of find myself in the car. Like if I'm riding out, like you mentioned, going to the Cape, and it's probably a little bit of a ride for him to do that. And I lost Dan, but we'll get him back. I lost Dan, but I was mentioning. If you get in that space, in that headspace where you feel like you're missing something, plug it in. Go back to basics with everything. Start making lists, start writing things down, and start focusing and dialing in. And the hardest thing I've seen is this. When you try to dial in and you try to focus in, the toughest thing I've seen is people struggle with putting something else down to pick something else up. But sometimes you have to do that to turn the page, to turn to the next thing. I know there was a lot of things I wanted to accomplish and get done, but I wasn't putting other things down to pick these things up. I wanted to do more of the podcasting on my own. I wanted to do more of the YouTube stuff. I wanted to do more in these different spaces, but I wasn't giving it the time, attention, and effort that it was requiring. So I think anytime you get, where you're in a space like, I can't do this or I can't do this, you're going to have to put something else down. You're going to have to sacrifice something else to pick it up. You can't drink every day and do drugs every day and go to the gym and expect to get killer results. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're going to have to put something down. True Luck Farm says, put it down and get with the program. That's my thoughts. You're absolutely right. That's a simplistic way to put it, but you're absolutely right. You're going to have to do that. So if you look at somebody and you say, geez, I really want to do this, or geez, I really want to do that, or I'm really trying to accomplish this, or I'm really trying to accomplish that, then do it. Do it. Mr. 406 Nutrition says, 100% true. I had to close down one of my businesses to make the main one flourish. Absolutely. And the faster you make those decisions, the better you'll be able to move forward. Anytime that you'd be able to change up your normal routines, I think you mean, will benefit you in the long run period. Yeah. So I'm not saying you have to be a jack of all trades or you need to switch things up 100 times, but don't be afraid to change it up a little bit. Especially if you're feeling like, geez, I'm really in a rut. And most of the time it equates to fitness or your mentality or your mental stability or the place you are in mentally. So, work on that. Work on that. And for me, I know this was a little bit of a mental rut. I went back to some books I liked. I went back to some, and I'm like, I like to go back to the Reader's Digest. It's kind of like fast forwarding through. And that's what I did. Go back, reaffirm some beliefs. Watch a couple good podcasts, listen to a couple good podcasts. Watch a couple of good videos. And then move forward. Move forward. Turn the page. If you want to train hard for a fight, you're going to probably have to train for 12, 20, 25 weeks, 30 weeks. If you want to develop your mind, you're going to have to put time in. And if you want to accomplish a goal, you're going to have to put the time, effort, and energy into it. There's no two ways about it. So, real quick, wrapping up, if you want to be eligible for take a walk in the woods. That's right, Mark. Take a walk in the woods. Clear your head. I love the car. Being from New England, you guys, one of the things we would always do is we'd get for your goals and write them down. A lot of people get out there. I know Andy says this, and Chris Cavallini and a few people, they make these like crazy lists, and they're going to conquer the world, and they're going to buy a Ferrari, and that stuff's awesome. But make a simple list. Like tonight, I'm going to lay out my clothes for the gym tomorrow to steal Jocko's line. So I have to go to the gym. The next day, I'm going to do X. Or the next day, I'm going to do Y. Start simple. People overcomplicate things. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. So, to wrap up, I want to thank the sponsors, Kenzies Optics, Taurus USA, Riton, and Crossbreed Holsters. If you want to win the Canic, guys, for those of you that are left in here, if you want to win the Canic, listen to me. You have to head over to YouTube. 406 says, I just make a simple list of 4 items every day that are small to move the needle forward. Absolutely. Hi, John. Hope you're well. I am. Thank you. AC and AZ. Move the needle forward. Expect nothing. Blame no one. Do your job. So, really fast, to win the Canic, guys, you have to head over to YouTube. Head over to YouTube, comment, tag, share the videos. Okay? Go over to YouTube, comment, share, tag the videos. All of them. The more active you are, the better chance you have to win. If you want to be eligible for the Canic, that's what you got to go do. Comment done on my last post. Let me know that you did the work. I'm going to pick a winner for the Canic tomorrow. I'll pick a winner. I'll make a deal with you guys. I'll either pick it tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to pick somebody who's going to win the Canic. So if you guys want a chance to win, go do that. I have a couple really cool videos up. A lot of people have been asking me about the products I use for podcasts, products I have on my agenda, things I have coming. A few people went on the website, www.johnbartoloshow.com, and bought some shirts and stuff. That's awesome. That's super helpful. A bunch of you guys have given to the Patreon. I want to address the Patreon really quick one last time. The Patreon is not set up for me to make this monumental profit, guys. The Patreon is set up to cover a lot of the shipping and everything else. It's a very small goal that I set. Yeah, the top 5 video is awesome. It's a very small goal that I've set on the Patreon. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, and I'm not trying to get rich. Okay, I can show you receipts. Shipping stuff isn't cheap. And setting up the podcast and everything else, I put that out there as just a little something to help with some of the fees, expenses, and everything else associated with it. You want to give to it, give to it. You don't, it's no big deal. It's there. I'm going to do some exclusive Patreon stuff down the line. I have it written out. I'm going to get to it. But I appreciate everybody supporting the podcast. I appreciate everyone supporting the lives. I appreciate everyone sharing everything. The more you share, the more you get involved, the more eligible you'll become for the giveaways. So head over to YouTube, comment, share, tag, and I appreciate everybody, and hopefully this got you a little motivated for the next couple days. I'll be live tomorrow, and we're going to announce the winner on the Canic. I'll talk to you guys later.